Broken ships floated like dead birds in space. Fire faded. Alarms died. Among the wreckage, one small human fighter drifted without power. Inside it, Evan Hale sat still, blood on his brow, hands shaking. He was a soldier of Earth, trained, brave, and tired. He had fought until there was nothing left to fire. A beam of blue light cut through the dark. Alien ships surrounded him. Evan tried to reach for the self-destruct switch. His fingers were slow. A sharp pain hit his neck. Darkness swallowed him. He woke up to cold stone. The air felt heavy, sharp, and wrong. Evan opened his eyes and blinked. Tall shadows stood around him. Alien guards, at least twice his height, watched in silence. Their skin was pale silver. Their eyes glowed faintly. Long armor plates covered their bodies like living metal. Chains held Evan's wrists and ankles. They burned his skin. He tried to move. The chains pulled tight. This is it, Evan thought. They captured me. I'm dead. He had heard the stories. The Zithran Empire did not keep prisoners. Humans were weak to them. Short-lived. Easy to break. A small race with big words and little power. Evan lifted his head. He was inside a massive hall. Black crystal walls rose high above him. Strange symbols glowed softly, moving like living things. At the far end stood a throne carved from dark stone and light. A deep sound echoed through the hall. Footsteps. The guards stepped aside at once. Their heads lowered. She entered. The alien queen. She was tall, even for her kind. A long cloak flowed behind her like shadow. Her crown looked sharp, almost dangerous. Her eyes were ancient, full of command and cold judgment. Power followed her with every step. Evan's heart pounded. This is where she orders my death, he thought. This is how it ends. The queen stopped a few steps from him. She studied him like an object. Like a tool. Or trash. So, she said, her voice calm and heavy, this is the human soldier. Evan said nothing. Small, she continued. Fragile. Short-lived. The guards made a low sound, almost like laughter. Evan clenched his jaw. He would not beg. The queen raised one hand. Silence returned. You fought well, she said. That is why you stand here. Evan lifted his eyes. Most humans die quickly, she said. You did not. She walked closer. Evan felt the weight of her presence pressing on his chest. You expect death, she said. He nodded once. Yes. The queen paused. Then she said something Evan never expected. You will not die, if you accept my condition. The words echoed through the hall. Silence. Even the guards shifted. Evan's breath caught. Condition. The queen turned away and faced the throne. My empire stands on balance, she said. That balance is breaking. She looked back at him. My daughter is a widow. Evan frowned. He did not understand. She was married to secure the throne, the queen continued. Her mate died. Without a new bond, rival houses will rise. War will follow. Evan listened, confused. No noble will take her, the queen said. They fear her. They whisper of bad fate. Of death. The guards lowered their eyes. She must marry, the queen said. Or the empire burns. Evan's chains rattled as he shifted. What does this have to do with me? The queen's eyes locked onto his. You, she said, are the answer. The hall felt colder. Evan stared at her. I'm human. Yes, the queen replied. That is why. She stepped closer. You have no house. No power. No allies here. If you die, nothing changes. Evan felt his stomach twist. But if you marry her, the queen said, the throne remains stable. The nobles will accept it. A human is not a threat to them. Evan's voice was low. And if I refuse? The queen's face did not change. Then you die, she said. Slowly. The guards tightened their grip on their weapons. Evan's mind raced. Marriage to an alien princess. A widow feared by her own people. A stranger in a hostile world. Freedom, or death. He thought of Earth. Of the sky. Of voices he might never hear again. This isn't a choice, he thought. It's a cage with a ribbon on it. The queen leaned down, her face inches from his. Marry my daughter, she said. Gain freedom. Refuse, and die. The words cut deep. Evan closed his eyes. Seconds passed. Then he whispered, barely loud enough to hear. I have no choice. The queen straightened. The chains released with a sharp sound. The guards stepped back. Good, the queen said. Then you will meet her. The massive doors behind the throne began to open. Light poured into the hall. Evan turned slowly. His heart stopped. A tall figure stood in the doorway, graceful, still, wrapped in dark robes. Her eyes were calm but full of quiet pain. She looked at Evan, not with fear, but with deep sadness. Evan felt every eye turn toward the alien princess. She moved slowly, her steps soft against the black stone floor. Long dark robes flowed around her, simple and without jewels. That alone felt strange. A royal with no signs of pride. She stopped a few steps away from Evan. Her eyes met his. They were not cold. They were not angry. They were tired. This scared Evan more than hatred ever could. The queen spoke first. Lyra. The princess lowered her head. Mother. Her voice was calm, steady, but heavy with pain. This is the human, the queen said. He will be your mate. A low sound moved through the guards. Some turned away. Others stared as if watching a doomed creature. Lyra looked at Evan again. This time longer. I see, she said. No anger. No surprise. Just acceptance. Evan swallowed. I didn't ask for this, he said carefully. Lyra nodded once. Neither did I. That single sentence built a bridge between them. Evan was taken to new chambers. They were not a prison, but they were not freedom either. The walls were smooth and dark. One window showed a distant alien sky, glowing purple and gold. Servants came and went. They watched him closely. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. He heard whispers. Cursed. Death follows her. The human will not live long. Evan tried to ask questions. No one answered. Later that cycle, Lyra came alone. No guards. That surprised him. She stood near the door, hands folded. You should not trust this place, she said. He laughed softly. Too late. She almost smiled, but stopped herself. My mother gave you a choice that was not a choice, Lyra said. I am sorry. Evan studied her face. She looked strong, but broken inside. What happened to your husband? Evan asked. Lyra turned away. He died. That's all. Evan pressed. That is all they allow me to say. Silence filled the room. If you refuse the marriage, Lyra continued, they will kill you. If I refuse, they will kill me. Or worse. Evan clenched his fists. So we're both prisoners. Yes, she replied softly. Preparation for the bonding ceremony began quickly. Evan was dressed in alien robes. Heavy. Tight. Uncomfortable. Nobles watched him from high balconies. Their eyes were sharp and cruel. "He is weak," one said loudly. "He will break," said another. Lyra stood beside him, calm and quiet. She did not defend him. She did not attack them either. During one preparation, a massive energy gate failed. Sparks flew. Servants panicked. Alien engineers rushed in, but froze. The system was old. Dangerous. They followed rules too closely. Evan stepped forward. "Your circuit is looping," he said simply. They stared. "You're feeding power back into itself. Shut this channel and reroute." One engineer hesitated. "That is not protocol." "It will explode," Evan replied. Seconds passed. The Queen's voice cut through. "Do it." The change was made. The system stabilized. Silence. Whispers returned, different now. The human thinks differently. He solves problems fast. Lyra looked at Evan, surprise clear in her eyes. That night, Evan could not sleep. A shadow moved. A blade flashed. Evan rolled just in time. An alien assassin crashed into the wall. Guards stormed in. The attacker was dead within seconds. The Queen arrived shortly after. "This was not my order," she said coldly. Lyra stood stiff. "They are afraid." "They should be," the Queen replied. Her eyes moved to Evan. "You will remain alive. For now." Later, Lyra spoke quietly to Evan. "They will keep trying," she said. "If you survive long enough, they will test you openly." Evan met her gaze. "Then I'll survive." She studied him. "Humans are strange." He smiled slightly. "That's what keeps us alive." Far above the palace, unseen eyes watched. Plans were being made. The wedding was coming, the palace changed after the failed assassination. Guards doubled. Corridors once open were sealed. Whispers grew sharper, darker. Evan felt it in the air, the calm before something violent. Lyra warned him quietly, "They will not hide anymore." She was right. At dawn, the palace horn sounded. A deep, heavy call that echoed across the city. Evan was taken from his chamber by armored guards and led into the Hall of Judgment. This hall was older than the palace itself. Massive pillars rose like frozen giants. Above them floated glowing symbols, laws carved into light. Hundreds of nobles filled the balconies. Their eyes burned with hunger. At the center stood a raised platform. The Queen sat upon her throne. Beside her stood Lyra, silent and strong. The Queen raised her hand. By ancient law, she declared, any outsider who seeks royal bond must prove worth. A low murmur spread. The human will face the 3 trials. Evan felt his chest tighten. Strength, the Queen said. Mind. Loyalty. If he fails, she continued, he dies. No emotion. Just law. Trial 1, Strength. The arena floor split open. A massive creature rose from below, muscle, armor, claws. A Zithran war beast. Built for battle. Evan swallowed hard. You must stand, the judge announced, until it falls, or you do. A weapon was tossed to Evan. Heavy. Unfamiliar. The beast charged. Evan moved fast, but not fast enough. He was thrown aside like dust. Pain shot through his ribs. The crowd roared. Human weakness, someone shouted. Evan struggled to his feet. Blood filled his mouth. He remembered his training, not to overpower, but to endure. He dodged. He rolled. He stayed alive. Minutes felt like hours. The beast slowed. Evan did not defeat it. But he did not fall. Finally, the queen raised her hand. Enough. The beast was called back. Trial 1, the judge announced, inconclusive. The nobles laughed. Lyra did not. Trial 2, mind. Evan was brought before a floating structure, shifting shapes, moving light. The maze of thought, the judge said. No one survives without high intelligence. Evan stepped inside. The walls changed. Paths vanished. False doors appeared. Sounds whispered lies. Evan closed his eyes. This is not about knowing, he thought. It's about understanding. He stopped chasing exits. Instead, he watched patterns. Listened. Waited. He moved only when the maze revealed itself. Slow. Careful. Human. When Evan stepped out, silence followed. Minutes passed. Then whispers. He solved it. No one solves it. The queen nodded slightly. Trial 3, loyalty. This trial was cruel. Lyra was brought forward. A blade hovered near her neck, controlled by energy fields. If the human flees, the judge announced, she dies. If he stays, he dies. Evan froze. Run, Lyra whispered. Please. The exit opened behind him. Freedom. Birth. Life. Evan turned, then stepped back. I won't leave her, he said. Energy surged. The blade dropped toward him instead. Evan stepped forward, placing himself between Lyra and death. I stay. The blade stopped inches from his heart. Silence exploded into shock. The queen stood. Enough. She descended from the throne. Trial 3, she said, her voice low, passed. As guards escorted Evan away, Lyra caught his arm. Why? She whispered. Evan met her eyes. Because some things are worth more than survival. That night, hidden in shadows, traitors met. The trials failed, one hissed. Then the ceremony must not, another replied. A plan was set. Blood would spill. And the palace would burn, even the palace lights burned dimmer, as if the walls themselves sensed danger. Evan stood near the balcony of his chamber, watching alien ships drift across the sky like silent predators. He had survived the trials. But survival did not mean safety. Behind him, Lyra entered quietly. They are afraid of you now, she said. Evan did not turn. That makes them dangerous. Yes, Lyra replied. Especially tonight. She hesitated, then spoke the words she had been holding back. My first husband died on the night before our bonding ceremony. Evan turned sharply. Assassination? Lyra nodded slowly. They blamed me. They always do. Before Evan could respond, the palace alarm screamed. Not one horn. Many. The sound of panic. The floor shook. Explosions echoed from the lower levels. The lights flickered. Guards ran past the chamber, shouting orders that collided and broke apart. Rebels. The inner gates are breached. Protect the queen. Lyra's eyes widened. It's happening. Evan grabbed the nearest guard. Where's the queen? Throne hall, the guard said. Under attack. Evan did not think. Take me to her. The guard hesitated. You are not authorized. Evan grabbed a fallen weapon, checked its weight, and met the guard's eyes. Then authorize me. Something in Evan's voice made the guard obey. The throne hall was chaos. Smoke filled the air. Shattered crystal littered the floor. Rebels in dark armor clashed with palace guards. Energy fire lit the shadows like lightning. At the center, the queen stood wounded, supported by 2 guards. Blood, dark and glowing, ran down her arm. Lyra cried out, "Mother!" A rebel commander stepped forward. "The throne ends tonight." Evan moved without orders. He scanned the battlefield, not as an alien would, but as a human soldier. Aliens fought with rules. Humans fought with instinct. Flank left. Evan shouted. "They're overcommit." Guards hesitated, then followed. Evan used debris as cover. He redirected fire. He broke formations. One by one, the rebels lost ground. The commander charged Evan. Their weapons collided. Evan was weaker, but faster. He ducked low, struck joints, aimed for balance, not power. The rebel fell. Silence followed. The last attacker fled. The queen stared at Evan. "You took command," she said slowly. "They were dying," Evan replied. "Someone had to." Lyra helped her mother stand. For the first time, the nobles who arrived late did not look down on Evan. They looked at him with fear. And respect. Later, in the medical chamber, the queen spoke privately with Evan. "You saved my life," she said. "I did what anyone should," Evan replied. The queen shook her head. "No. You did what humans do." She studied him carefully. "My daughter's first husband was loyal," she said. "Too loyal." Evan felt a chill. "He learned truths he should not have," the queen continued. "And died for them." Evan understood. "This palace kills those who challenge it." "Yes," the queen said. "And you challenge it without knowing." That night, Lyra visited Evan once more. "They won't stop," she said. "Even if you marry me." Evan met her gaze. "Then we change the rules." Lyra searched his face. "You really believe that's possible?" Evan smiled faintly. "Humans always do." Far below the palace, in sealed chambers, ancient systems awakened. Earth ships crossed into Zithran space. And the galaxy moved one step closer to war, corridors echoed with hurried steps. Doors sealed and unsealed at random. Guards changed shifts without warning. Trust was gone. Fear ruled quietly, like a shadow that never left. Evan felt it everywhere. He trained each cycle with palace guards, not because they trusted him, but because they feared what he might become. They watched his every move. He noticed everything. Humans were good at that. Lyra often stood nearby, silent, observing. She had changed too. Her back was straighter now. Her voice steadier. The widow was becoming a queen. One night, she spoke in a low voice. "My husband discovered something hidden in the archives." Evan stopped. "What kind of something?" "Names," Lyra replied. "And lies." The royal archive was forbidden. Only the queen and the council had access. That alone told Evan enough. Using a small human data tool salvaged from his fighter, Evan studied the palace systems. Zithran technology was advanced, but predictable. Built with power, not flexibility. A single human weakness opened everything. The archive doors unlocked silently. Inside, history floated in light, wars, treaties, deaths carefully rewritten. Evan searched for one thing. The first husband. Records showed a public execution order, signed by 3 high nobles. Not Lyra. She was framed, Evan whispered. Footsteps echoed. Lyra entered, her face pale. "I knew it." Alarms began to rise. They ran. The queen listened in silence as Evan presented the truth. The nobles shouted. Denied. Accused Evan of deception. "Then answer this," Evan said calmly. He activated the archive projection. The room froze. Evidence floated before them, orders, energy signatures, altered records. The Queen's hand trembled. Enough, she said. Guards seized the traitors. For the first time, justice moved without fear. Hours later, Earth ships appeared on Zithran scanners. Humans had come for Evan. War was moments away. Lyra stood beside him on the balcony. You could leave, she said. Evan shook his head. Not like this. He stepped forward between two worlds. The Queen watched him carefully. Perhaps, she said slowly, humans are not weak. The galaxy held its breath. The final choice awaited. Globe showing Europe-Africa Part 6, a human becomes a legend. The stars above Zithra burned brighter that day. Massive human warships emerged from hyperspace, their hulls marked with the blue and white symbols of Earth's defense fleet. Energy cannons powered up. Fighter squadrons spread out like wings. Inside the Zithran palace, alarms rang again, but this time, they carried a different meaning. Human fleet detected. Battle stations. Fear spread fast. The nobles shouted. Generals argued. Old grudges returned to the surface. They have come to reclaim their soldier, one noble cried. They have come to destroy us, another shouted. Lyra stood still, watching the stars through the high crystal window. They came because they believe you are dead, she said quietly. Evan nodded. And because humans don't leave their own behind. The Queen summoned Evan alone. You stand between two fires, she said. Speak carefully. Evan took a slow breath. I will speak honestly, he replied. The Queen studied him for a long moment. Then she said something no one expected. You will address them. The throne hall fell silent. Evan stood before the communication array. Human faces appeared, commanders, admirals, soldiers who had trained beside him. Admiral Reyes leaned forward. Evan hail. Status. Evan met her eyes. Alive. Relief swept across the channel. Stand down, he said. No attack. Confusion followed. These beings are not our enemies, Evan continued. They are afraid, like we would be. The Zithran Council watched in disbelief. You taught me something, Evan said. Power without understanding leads only to fear. Humans survive because we adapt. Because we choose cooperation. Silence followed. Then Admiral Reyes spoke. You're asking us to trust them. Evan nodded. Yes. As they trusted me. The Queen stepped forward. I once believed humans were weak, she said to the human fleet. I was wrong. The words shook the palace. Today, she continued, we choose alliance, not domination. Slowly, human weapons powered down. Zithran defenses followed. The galaxy exhaled. Later, in the throne room, the Queen offered Evan the crown. You could rule beside my daughter, she said. Your kind would gain power beyond measure. Evan looked at Lyra, then shook his head. I don't want to rule, he said. I want a future where no one is forced to kneel. Lyra smiled, for real this time. Evan returned to Earth as an envoy, not a prisoner. Across the stars, stories spread. Of a human who survived captivity. Who chose courage over fear. Who changed an empire without firing a shot. And whenever his name was spoken, it carried the same truth. They captured a human. And discovered what humanity truly means. Massive human warships tore out of hyperspace, one after another, forming a silent wall in the void. Their engines burned blue like angry suns. Weapons charged. Fighter wings spread wide. Inside the Zithran palace, panic returned, stronger than before. Human fleet confirmed. Attack range reached. Awaiting royal command. Nobles shouted. Generals argued. Old fears ruled again. They have come to wipe us out. They will avenge their soldier. Lyra stood at the balcony, staring at the stars. Her hands trembled, but her voice did not. They think Evan is dead, she said quietly. Or enslaved. Evan stood beside her, calm on the outside, racing inside. They didn't come for war, he said. They came for me. The queen summoned Evan to the throne hall.